See if this thing is working this morning. Just do me a favor as y'all coming in, just type a one in there. I think y'all should be able to hear me. Hopefully, I don't see anything up on the screen yet. I often would use this cell phone as a monitor. Richardson, okay, I see you. Grace and peace. We sounding all right? Okay, all right. I appreciate y'all. Man, a lot is going on. Sean, what's good? What it is? A lot's going on, y'all. And somebody asked. Some people just come on. I think a lot of people that I have for subscribers and stuff, they've been around for a long time. Apostle, if you want here, I sent you that link. Some people, but I have to realize that some people actually they're recent or they're come across me on. I'm not really on Facebook. I'm gonna try to stretch out into some different platforms, but I'm comfortable with the crowd that I have, and I got a lot of sharp people. I think we're gonna start getting into some more teachings, various teachings. Yeah, when people get offended when I'm not pushing that doctrine the way they want me to push it, but we're going to get into some various teachings. But something very important is happening. First of all, Jesus, whoever Jesus was talking to, he said, "You shall be hated for my name's sake." So somebody out here has a message from Jesus, and Jesus promised that the world's not going to like the message. He said that because they hated me, they're going to hate y'all also. So there's some things that I think that we must look at, and we're going to recognize that whoever has the true message of Christ is not going to be loved by the world. The powers that be, a lot of people, they mock and scoff when they start hearing that there's rulers and leaders and people that's attempting and have always attempted to rule humankind. And they have been connected with priests, and many of them prayed to different deities and had holy days and performed sacrifices and had holy assemblies. Everybody from Indians all over Africa, we've done these things. Druids in Europe, strange people. We got Wicca that's coming back strong. People involved in Wicca. People think that they can manipulate or understand the energies and can control and understand themselves and the people around them, the circumstances around them. This is where magic comes from. They have what's known as high magic. In the midst of all of this, the God of heaven has called out a people unto himself. This is where all of the problems coming in. The God of heaven, the true God, is multiple gods, but the true and the living God, the high God, have called out a people unto himself, and he's guiding them through this darkness in the midst of these other beings. A lot of people that are religious right now, they're how can I say it? They're materialistic. They don't really think about spiritual things. They're just full of religion. But Elder Johnson, in the midst of all of this, there's some people that's attempting to work through religion to get to their spirituality. Thank you, Norman. We appreciate you so much in the super chat, and we try to call out the super chat. But when I'm on here, I often would click on a whole bunch of different names that had the other pastor offended. I don't want to offend nobody. I try not. If y'all watch, everybody that got a YouTube channel, everybody's on StreamYard, look how many comments I'll be clicking on, especially when I got somebody on, Jason or somebody else on that's talking where I can read the comments. I'm clicking on everything, side conversations and everything, because I want people to be involved. I want people to have input. And a lot of people are going to see these videos and they're going out for posterity's sake. Somebody asked me about being woke and the awakening. Now, I said there's a couple of awakenings going on. A lot of times there are people, and y'all know it if y'all are on social media and y'all been following myself and a host of others. If y'all everybody that's on social media have come across some type of video that talk about Israelites, that talk about Black people, and this is what's happening right now. A lot of people feel that there's a war with the church. There's been back and forth attempting to make dialogue. I've done strange things with people that were talking, people that are ministers, people that are urban apologists, and people that are Israelites, specifically Messianics. Now, and if you notice, the people in Palestine, they don't use the word Israelite, they use the word Jew. So 90% of the time when I'm talking, I'm not talking about the people in Israel, unless I specifically say them folk over there, because they're not in our conversation. They're not in what's going on here on the islands and in the UK and different places, among what people would call an awakening. People know from the longest or from the earliest of times that Europeans have attempted to dominate the entire planet. They've used religion, they've used science, they've used slavery, they've used laws, they've used everything to dominate the yellow people. Those are the Asian people and people over there, and brown and black people. And European nations ran amok. This is just reality. If you're a Christian, this is reality. I have a lot of Christian friends, and they don't want to look at that stuff because they say that stuff is irrelevant and the world is going to be the world. All we need to do is focus on the message of the Bible. This brings us to another place, because we would have to ask, there's arguments out here. If I ask a room full of religious people, what is Melinda 1973? What is the message of the Bible? That's something right there. What is the message of the Bible? And this brings about some problems. We have people that say that they're woke and they're Christians, and they're Christians that want to hold on to traditional Christianity. We could say Nat Turner was woke, Harriet Tubman was woke, Frederick Douglass was woke, and a bunch of other people that were believers, not because they were believers because Christianity was beat into them. That's a false narrative. Europeans didn't want us wholly to be Christians, not the Christianity of the Bible, because the Christianity of the Bible is something that frees you. You're not caught up under the king or the ruler and your masters and all of this other stuff. You're not caught up into that if you use the Bible correctly and you're following true biblical Christianity. So we have believers that are considered woke, and they're believers and they want to continue to walk in the Christian way. And they believe, according to Ephesians, according to the Bible, they have the true knowledge of God and what he has put down here for us to do. And we have another movement that's going on, and it's called the Awakening. I'll talk about the occult awakening later on. That's people coming to their higher self and understanding they're spiritual beings, and they're connected with the universe and the stars, and they're more than their physical body. After death, consciousness carries on. That's an occult awakening. And for the earliest of times, people have been walking and training themselves in mystery schools to understand the elements and learn about themselves and life as above, so below. I'm part of this great universe. I'm part of the cosmos. I'm made up of some stardust and all of that other stuff. So we've been around from the very beginning. But we also have an awakening that there are a lot of people that are considered, quote unquote, minorities, predominantly black people in this country, that believe that they are the true people of the Bible, and that Europeans have always played a role in the Bible, but the role that they have played has been the role of the oppressors. Now, my woke people would say, don't go to endless genealogies, don't deal with this. But in light of science, in light of 23andMe, in light of all of this DNA and stuff, people have always wanted to know where they came from. It's no problem. We hear these people came from Germany. And when my Irish grandfather came here, he had a nickel in his little suitcase, and he came from Ireland. He came from Scotland. And then when he saw, I remember the love letters he wrote back to my grandmother. They was sailing on ships back then. And when he saw the Statue of Liberty, he came and went downtown Manhattan, and he opened up a coffee shop. And that deli has been in my family for the last 72 years. And we have people that can trace their stuff, trace their great grandparents and heritage and everything. And we have some people that can't do that. So there are people that are looking in the Bible, and there's more and more people that saying, wait a minute, we are so similar to what's going on inside of the Bible. This has to be us. So because of this, we have different ministers, different believers that were already inside the Christian church, that grew up in church, and they're out here and they're looking, are we these people in the book? And there's a lot of people that believe that. Because so many black people have been Bible believers from the very beginning, of course it's going to cause rift. There's tension right now. Thank you. We appreciate you in the super chat. There's rift and there's tension. And because there's rift and tension, because there's so many people that are that are Bible believers, they have congregations and they believe that there is, but they preach from the Bible. Now, they believe that there were certain things in the Bible that was written, and those things that are written in the Bible apply to many Black Americans, as you would call them today, in the United States of America. The church is offended. The church is offended because they're attempting to practice some things that were practiced back in the days that true Israel practiced, and there's nothing wrong with them. That's nothing wrong with that. But because of social media and the doors of the doors of the buildings have been closed. So many people are on social media and hearing this message. We've had people that are attempting to answer these questions and to fight with objections through scripture. So we have people that are woke, that are Christians, that follow a great heritage. Nobody cannot deny stuff. We can't deny that the AME church, we can't deny, and I see y'all got an AKA finna jump up in the White House. We got to talk about the Greeks and the squares, because the Greeks and the squares, who are Black people that's been in fraternities and sororities, they've done a lot. Within Prince Hall, they've done a lot. Within the AME church, they've done a lot. Within the Baptist church, we have to discuss these things. So in the midst of all of this stuff, there are some people that come from a legacy of the Christian church in the Black church that have done so much work, that have been down with abolition, on destruction of slavery, and on civil rights and so many other things. And we can't deny certain things. I don't think nobody in here can say that a newer or a Messianic congregation or Black Israelites, they have done more work than the AME church. We're just looking at the numbers. Than the Baptist church, than the civil rights movement, than the Greeks and the squares. The Greeks and the squares, who are part of the Divine Nine, Prince Hall and them, were always connected with the Black church, and they was always doing things for Black people. So what's known as Black regular pork-eating Christianity, Sunday worshiping Christians, have put in more work to free people, Black people. There has been some white people doing it also, and I'm sorry I got to bring up black and white, but this is just the reality of where we're living. Nobody can say that the Black church has not put in more work for the Black people than anybody else, than any Rastafarian group, any conscious community, Dr. York, than the Nation of Islam, than any Israelite group. All of them combined cannot compare to the work that the Black church have put in for the Black community. But in the last couple of decades, civil rights, everything okay, y'all got affirmative action. It seems like that part of the church has kind of fell off with that. The church haven't been really doing that. So since the advent of YouTube and the advent of social media, a lot of people are asking, what is the church doing for us in this situation? Now we have ungodly or unsaved or people that practice different spirituality trying to step up. So now we see Black Lives Matter trying to speak on social justice and voting and certain things where the Black church were the prominent leaders. Now we have other people. We have people that are known Marxists. We have people that dealing with spirituality or calling on the spirits of the ancestors and the leaders of Black Lives Matter. They let us know they're trained Marxists and we follow a different spirituality. Those that are spiritual are sitting back saying the church can't really be down with that. We have historically been doing A, B, C, D, E, F, and G, but now these people are coming and they're pushing a heavy LGBTQ doctrine. Now we're all in the Imago Dei. And the church have treated homosexuals wrong that have been gifted, that gave us gospel music, that did certain things. So it's dangerous because now outsiders, now the LGBTQ community, they feel some type of way. So eventually we'll feel they'll flip on us and the Bible so people don't move with them. In the midst of this, because so many people that have come into this other awakening that call themselves Messianics, that call themselves Israelite, that call themselves Judah, that call themselves the people of God, that's being oppressed here and abroad and are biblically God's people, we have problems. There's rift within the church, within the assemblies, within the congregation, within the body of believers that all believe on who we call Jesus, who you call Yeshua. There's a rift now because there's another group that's emerging. They've been around. We can trace them. We could trace them back 100 years. And these congregations are attempting to grow, and even people that don't go to church, they're being unified through YouTube, through social media. They're being unified. And it seems to be, I can't even say it seems to be, it's tension between the awakening and those that are within the church. Regular church people can't handle it. So we got what's now known as woke Christians that know their history, that's dealing with certain things. So automatically, it just brings people in contact with each other that have these belief systems, that understand the enemy have used the Bible to oppress us. I don't care if you are tongue talking. I don't care if you Baptist. I don't care if you woke or not woke. If you're a right thinking person, you can't say Europeans have took that Bible and Europe took that Bible and ran amok with that Bible, and they promoted white supremacy with that Bible, and they put a people underneath their feet with that Bible. And they said it was actually God's doing, and God has ordained for things to be like this, and this is the way it is. There's other people that stirred in their spirit. We don't want this nonsense. We don't accept this nonsense. And we found out that these people have been lying. So now researchers come in, ministers that's not so much in the forefront teaching theology, but that's actually researchers. We have fact checkers that coming in. We have younger people that like DNA and they want to get into science and biology, and they've been interested in certain things, so they see where they can help in certain areas. Some people want to just run down slave records. Now, because of this, all people have agendas. And because so many people have agendas, we see certain things happening because so many people have agendas and people are offended. Some people just want to push the church, but the church has had problems. One of the reasons that the church has had problems is because we have done some things, and largely because of people that I move with in my circle, what you would call charismatic Pentecostal circles. There's a lot of people and that have been doing a lot of stuff that have not been biblical, that have been nonsense. So we have some brothers, we have Reformed people of African descent, that's a darker hue of people. They don't believe in that nonsense, but they practice some things that are not biblical. So the other people that are closely attempting to more closely follow the Bible, we're arguing with them that you don't know the purpose of the law. Y'all are confused. And they're arguing with other people. You have holidays and you have things that you're practicing that we can trace back to pagans in Europe that have nothing to do with Jesus and the Bible that you follow. I'm trying to summarize everything that's been going on for the past couple of years online. It's come to a head because there's people on the corner and they dress different. Those guys dress funny and they curse a lot when they read the Bible, and they disrespect a lot according to what Christians would think. You can't open the Bible and talk like that. Those are called camps. Those are the alphabet boys, GMS, ISUPK, IUIC, and all of those other people you would see throughout urban communities or throughout the country. But there's more and more people that's realizing more and more people are believing certain things, but they don't stand on the corner. They don't dress any different from you and I. That's how come I have to bring up the pastor that was talking with vocab last night and certain things that he said. If you wink real hard, they look like a church. If there's a congregation that want to keep the Sabbath and they actually pulled out from Christianity, they didn't pull out from the Bible. They just pulled out from making Sunday the main day. They don't like Easter. They like Passover. And it's okay. And there's more and more people that don't understand the whole history of Christmas and pagan and this and that. And regular church people or woke church people are offended, but it looks like these people are more closely following the book. So I can understand, though, to the average person that just come around and start seeing and hearing things, how they can be confused. But I can understand a person that just want to know God a little better, just want to study the Bible and be in fellowship. I can understand why some of them would say, well, why do y'all do those things? And why do they do those things? So now we have people that move apologetically, or as an apologist, not urban apologists. We have apologists that are Israelites, and they're asking and challenging, why are church people doing this? Should we come out from among them? And when Rich says come out from among them and be ye separate, is it talking about come out from Christianity? Some people, Parker, are saying they're going to attempt to separate Christianity, or what they call Western Eurocentric Christianity, and they're going to go back to Africa, because Christianity was practiced on the continent of Africa way before there was a Vatican or Pope there. One of them folk down there, them folk that some of y'all love so much, that been dealing with them holidays. There's been people on the continent of Africa that has been practicing these things. But because of some other people and some confusion and just dealing with race, they throw things out there. The Bible of White Man book, the Bible of White Man book, the Bible of White Man book. So we're searching and we're working through all these things, and you have people on both sides of the fence. Now, with people on both sides of the fence, I have a platform, and I'd like for the regular people, because the majority of people in here probably don't know what's going on, for them to get clarity, for them to get an understanding. I think the best thing to do is to bring these people, in fairness, bring these people on the platform to talk and discuss certain things. Some of these people say they speak the Hebrew language, they read the Hebrew language, and that's good, because when you go to seminary, Greek dealing with the New Testament is the main thing. One of the main things they want you to understand when you're doing word searches, to understand what the language those things were written in and how some things may be lost in translation. So if you're a good pastor, if you're an educated pastor, you're going to do word searches just to get clarity. The ultimate one to uplift and guide is the Ruach HaKodesh, whom my people call the Holy Ghost. The Spirit of God, the Spirit of comfort, the Spirit the Spirit of truth, the Spirit of Christ that's going to lead and guide you into all truth. But you need to know some simple things in the Bible. So it's good to understand language. So we have people that's arguing language. We have people that's arguing the customs. A lot of Christians don't understand the customs. We got an idea of the Passover. And I'm not saying everybody, don't start hitting me with no email. I'm not saying everybody, but a lot of people don't. We just have things like Easter, and then the confusion coming because there's an Easter egg, there's an Easter bunny. For the last, I don't know, since the 90s, I know a lot of churches, a lot of Christian ministers that I've been riding with before the term woke been used, we don't say Easter, we say Resurrection Sunday. That's what we call Resurrection Sunday. We would call it, as opposed to using the term Easter that's not biblical. No matter, you might see the word in the Bible that's not biblical, the practice and the eggs and all of this stuff. We use Resurrection Sunday. We have other people, because of promises in the Bible and who they think they are in the Bible and what the Bible say, they're keeping certain things perpetually. They're keeping certain things to remind them of a time that they were in bondage, and the church has no business checking those people and telling those people what to do. But because we look so much alike, because we both read from the same book, there's more and more people that are out here saying, out of these groups, most people don't think like myself. Both groups can be right. I read and see both groups in the Bible, be it in Antioch, be it in Jerusalem, be it in Galatia, be it in Ephesus or Thessalonica. I see both groups within the Bible. Most people don't think like that. Even pastors, most people think this is a problem, their problems, and like how I would say the bootleg is on the block. A lot of these Louis bags out here are bootleg. A lot of these Fendi belts, Gucci belts out here, they bootleg. I know they stunting on videos, they on Instagram stunting, but a lot of these bags are bootleg. A lot of these bags are fake. So there's a lot of Christians that saying, believers that saying, what these people are practicing is no good. That's fake. That's not the real thing. Some people have went as far as saying those people are of the devil. Those people are not true believers, and God didn't call them at all. But the problem is some of those people live good lives. They've been married to one woman. They don't fornicate. They not running around. They not racist. They have what you would call fruit if you're a fruit inspector. Because we could say, Shonda Lodge, we could say everybody can quote the Bible, but everybody can't live right. The devil can't live right. But now we see that there's some of those people that's living right. So it's a little bit, so it's a little confusing for the average person that's out here, and people are just listening and comparing what they see in the Bible. And those people quote a lot of Bible. Those people quote a lot of Bible. Of course, there's people on this side of the fence that say they're misquoting the Bible. You're handling that word deceitfully. You got to do it my way. But at the same time, they can say, what's wrong with my way? They'll say, what's wrong with my way? Because look how many denominations y'all got. Which one of y'all got the right interpretation when we're dealing with this? This is how we view it. And this group of people here, we follow these scriptures, and this means A, B, C, and D to us. They're not even worried about y'all calling them a cult, because these people have been reading a little bit too, and they say, well, the early Christians were a cult, were just a breakaway from the normal Israelite faith, and they just believed on Messiah. So y'all were a cult back in the days. As time went on, y'all are considered orthodox. Those problems, because some folk out here reading. Jason, you in the car? There's some folk out here reading, so there's some things that we have to look at. I just wanted to get on here and make sure I make some of that stuff plain. There's a lot of people saying you got to come out, and this is what troubling some of my people. You got to come out of that spell. Who think Christianity is a spell? This is what they hate me. You can't be no Christian because you can't say that if you're a Christian. You used to be a... Who think... This is a fair question. Somebody in here think Christianity is a spell. Jason, yes? You think Christianity is a spell, or yes, you in the car? Oh, boy. How many of y'all type one if you think Christianity is a spell? Oh, you didn't stay there. Okay. How's she doing? We praying for you. Pray for my man. His baby had a little incident yesterday and had to go to the hospital. All right, we praying for you. Tell the bishop I said what's good. Who think that this is some type of spell that's on the people? Because I can even say, being honest, I can say that there have been some Christian pastors that have used the Bible, that have wilded out, can I say, and used the Bible to for their own gain, for their own purpose. And because I say that, that's not Sean. The Lord said it, John said it, Joe Nuff said it. And there are people that feel like that. They don't feel y'all should have a platform. They don't feel that y'all should say anything. But the church can't move like that anymore. So we are challenged and being faced with questions. Some of them we have never answered before. So we have a specialized group of people that are known as urban apologists. Now, this noisy dude, we ain't going to be noisy on here this morning. Matter of fact, let me mute him. We got some people, okay, he said Western Christianity. We got some people that they feel that way. And because the church has been pressed right now, that we can't just chalk it up and say, oh, them people the devil over there, because they're challenging us. And I think being challenged is good. I think God is actually allowing this, because we're quick to say, Jason, God is not the author of confusion. But I think sometimes God will cause a stirring to cleanse some stuff. Because I do believe there's some things within this Christianity that we practice here, that you black people practicing over in these good United States of America, that could use a little pointing up, a little cleaning up. And it's okay. I know y'all God's people, y'all got the answer for everything. But because of the challenges that have come, we better stop using Malachi 3:8-9 and can you cuss with a cuss? We better stop playing if cusses ain't in the New Testament. So we're being challenged to dig. We're being challenged and questioned on everything. But at the same time, have there been people that call themselves Israel because they just done with the church, but they ain't done with God in the Bible, and they're just flowing and they don't have no information? This is why we have to go with people. And I bring on people. People are saying some challenging things. I'm telling y'all the amount of email people shook. Minister Dante with the 400 years. Some people just came over because vocab came to debate them about the 400 years. Some people that even heard of this stuff. Like, what is this stuff? You telling me America and blacks in America could be locked into the Bible with 400 years when the church haven't historically preached or taught that from the Bible? Now Minister Dante is teaching that. I don't want to talk about Minister Yacoba and that whole thing, Israel and Africa and the connection with Africa and not Israel and who the people. Oh man, this is some offensive stuff that's being discussed online. And I can see why the bishop would have younger people be like, yo, what is this? And people want to know. Come on, bro, come to the microphone. Let me look at some of these comments before I call this through.
Grace and peace, how you doing?
Yeah, you sound good. Good.
Hey, I appreciate everybody for the prayers and everything. last night. It was a spiritual attack. They don't know what's going on, but she is doing good. It was my youngest daughter. She's 6. The devil knew he was about to expose him last night with that angel talk. So it was. I'm talking about a heavy attack. You know, I thought I was gonna lose my baby last night, but by grace through faith, you know. So I'm on my way to the hospital, but I do agree. I do agree with you. We just got to get back to teaching the gospel because a lot of stuff is getting us off track. You know, a lot of distractions. You want to make videos to go at somebody that said something, but you get away from the key principles. You know, which is just righteousness, love your labor and love the Lord your God. You know, everything else is you know, how you feel or your own conscience or your own ideology. Period. You know, point blank. Period. But we must address those that are preaching another gospel. You know, we just got to stop being scared. If it's not in the Bible, it's not in the Bible. If you are eisegeting text wrong, that's wrong. You're supposed to exegete. You know, let the word speak for the word. But we have a lot of isolation. And eisegeting just means you put in, or you take a scripture and you put in your own ideology with it. Exegetical or exegesis just means that you are interpreting the Bible with the Bible. But a lot of people's not doing that. You know, they just take one scripture, and it's amazing how people that actually say that they study, you know, eisegete text, and it's like it's hard for them to turn away from that because they've been preaching it so long. And you know, now my platform might be big or I might be making a lot of money. If I switch this now, I could lose that. But you know, we can't do that. It gotta be by faith. That's how you know where your faith is. If you're worried about if you're speaking against the devil and your pockets don't get thinner, you're not in it for Christ. You know, you're in it for self. So we just have to be careful.
Now look at this. Now y'all can hear me right now. Look at this, and this is something for the Christians. This is something that would often come up, and I know my Christian people say it don't make no sense. Mike Holloway, I don't want to bother him this morning. Oh, y'all go. I think I got a special. We gonna talk about it later on. Matter of fact, type one. Who in here on my Patreon? Type one. Y'all got my number, right? 267. Let me put this number in here. Look at this. Bill's talk on that right now. Jason, a lot of the stuff would come up. You hit me yesterday. And private. Now we're gonna bring out some private stuff. Where the bishop at? Where the bishop at right now? He said, pray for me. Jason hit me yesterday. Y'all said, pray for me. The enemy got my mama. And he said, I said, what? I'm like, what happened? I looked down at my jack. I see a big, tall Christmas tree. A white Christmas tree. White and tall to the ceiling of the house. I said, Lord. She said, pray. I said, oh, my goodness. Oh, my God. Got the lights on it and everything. Got the lights on it.
Hey, but check this out. My mama is so crazy. She was like, I don't understand. This ain't wood. It's just metal. It's metal and plastic. So I don't worship this thing. I like the colors. So I mean, hey, you know, that's old school. She ain't thinking about y'all.
She old school.
Washed in the blood of the lamb, and she liked them colors. That's all.
So and this is stuff that we have to look at when we talk about. You see what Second Exodus put up here. Christmas trees are not in the Bible. You'll be surprised how many people, because they say stuff like that. Mark Harris, you'll be surprised how many people alone would get the Israelites would get the air of them because they say Valentine's Day, Christmas trees, not the Easter egg is not in the Bible. I would automatically get rid of it if I was a believer, or keep it in my house and keep my mouth shut. Oh no, Yolanda in here. We can't talk about trees. We got our tree people in here. We got the tree people in here. Who get ready to put their tree up? Who get ready to put their tree up? I want pictures of everybody tree. That's tree people.
If they talking stuff, it'd be half us in here. They just gonna do it quietly.
And I told them, I said, yo, y'all bring it all up in the church and the camps out there. You got messianics out there. You got people talking about that. Even people that's not involved in the conscious community, they got to do with headhunting. They got to do with Nimrod. And you got to understand the science of the white man. And they saying stuff, but people just, I'm going to get my tree. We're going to pick our tree this afternoon and we're going to do A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. Look at this. The Easter egg isn't in the Bible either. And because of things like this, we're out in that. Where Yolanda at? We're having because of things like this, people got a problem. My man said, yo, man, listen, I got kids in the house. My wife, boy, if I want peace in my house, I'm going to have a tree every year. And other things that Christians would say is like, do I worship the tree? Have you ever heard a pastor say worship the tree? The other Israelite brother said, don't make no difference. You bow down to put the gift up underneath the tree. Get it out of the house of God. I said, shot fired. But some people say this, y'all are being petty. You hear me, souls of our ancestors? Y'all are being petty because you don't want the Easter bug and you don't want the kids to have fun in Sunday school. Yolanda, right there, Yolanda, you being you want to be lawless, and there's other ones of us that we're just looking and we're asking, why are these things happening? Now we could get here and we could say it's joking. I ain't gonna say nobody going to hell messing around with no tree. Let me see what Mark said. He said, "I'm Pentecostal. I'm putting up a tree. We do Easter eggs or Easter bunnies." You see that? So this and people feel that they have a freedom and they got a right to do what they want to do because they got a freedom that's in Christ Jesus. And these Israelites, messianic or not, y'all not getting ready to get them in bondage. I propose that this is helping the Israelites' numbers. I think that this is helping them on the low. Now we got our freedom, but sometimes freedom, or like when I was telling y'all about that bird Grayston came. Matter of fact, I'm gonna show y'all a new bird. That bird Grayston started running amok. When grace runs amok, John said, you got to preach that thing. When grace runs amok, sometimes we can go so far that we can do anything. Can we start offending the people? Should we adjust ourselves? Should we keep it on the low? Should we not post our Christmas tree? I don't think y'all should post a lot of what y'all got going on in some of these churches because y'all think it's traditionally it's okay, but it's really zoo behavior. And y'all are putting it on Facebook for everybody to see. That lady rolling all on the ground, got to see all up in between her. They running, trying to cover up, falling over each other, all of that. We don't need to put everything online. We got to get rid of some of this stuff.
That's one of the biggest things. That's one of the biggest things. If you don't put your business out there, they won't know. Now, I don't agree with that stuff in the church because that ain't got nothing to do with the church or the building. But at home, that's your castle. You know, you can do what you want to at home. You know, long as it's not getting into idol worship and all that. But most of it ain't. It's culture. Just like you have Israelite culture, we got American culture. We just, you know.
And this is where the problem is coming in, Dunamis. Are Israelites trying to force their culture on us? Sean Harris, y'all trying to make, just because we got the ham on the table and the Christmas tree, and that's just European culture, because America was built on Europe and it came from Europe and they were practicing already. They had a ham in the tree before the Pilgrims got here. There was a ham and tree in Europe. And we could get into the science of the egg because them folk were just broke and hungry because the church and the kings was ruling them and they ain't had too much of nothing. So they would have little boiled eggs and they would save them. And we'll get into that history and we'll talk about it. Somebody said, my culture is now limbo. My culture is now limbo. Hold on a minute. Before we get to that and we jump off here, Easter and Christmas has nothing to do with Christianity. Okay, I can ride with that. But could it be, Jason, that is so tied in with Christianity right now, Melinda, that these folk ain't playing, that they're thinking automatically, yes, it does. We say Christmas is Jesus' birthday. The world knows Jesus was born on the 25th. Stop this nonsense. The world knows this. Y'all can't clean it up now because it's been so tied in for so long with Christianity. We got to admit some things because we looking crazy trying to talk around and justify some stuff. The tree ain't original to the Bible. And it amazes me how many church people get offended. Here you go again talking about the tree. Just admit it's not original to the Bible. But this culture, we picked it up and we did it. We picked it up from the Europeans and we did it. The first Christians to have trees was in Germany. First Christians started having trees. There was white people up there, y'all. And it's okay. Nobody's shooting it down. But Jesus and them ain't have no tree. And it's okay to discuss it. Move on, next subject. But the mere fact that we'll get here and we'll fight and we'll defend it like it's the Eucharist. Matter of fact, how many of y'all practicing or having communion locked up in the crib right now? All the pastors talking about this ain't real church. Y'all got to figure out how these people going on 9 months and they had no communion. Figure some of that out, you smart pastors. But some people say we could throw that to the side. Now, we're going to go into limbo. Limbo is Levitical culture with faith in Christ. Somebody else said now, and we're hearing more of this because of Sister E and them. We're hearing more of this. My culture is now limbo. What do we do with that? And people can follow different cultures. Did Jesus come to do away with Chinese culture? Did Jesus come to destroy every culture on the planet? Because these other people want to lift up their European culture above every other culture on the planet. But people are being offended right now. People are saying that we have people, now y'all gonna push limbo culture on us? Or should we just go our separate ways? Or is this something to discuss? Is limber culture a viable option? Because we got European culture, and there's many black people that love St. Patrick's Day, who is European. Can we pick and choose? Do we have a freedom to follow the culture that we want as long as it doesn't do anything that's diametrically opposed to what's written in the book? Is the Christmas tree devil worship? Is the Easter egg devil worship? Is it on the same level as Halloween? How can we just do whatever we want? If we have love and he knows us in the heart, we could take the kids trick-or-treating. We love them in our heart. Somebody else said, if you love me, keep my... I hate these Israelites. They said, if you love me, they got scripture. They got scripture. This is where the beef come in. So we got a lot of beef. Let me read some of these comments before I get out of here.
No, I'm sorry. I just pulled up, B. I gotta go.
All right, man. We appreciate you, bro. All right. I agree, however, where their culture issues back during ancient Christianity. All right, let me see. Let me just look at a couple of more. And I want y'all to see it. We are not to learn the ways of the heathens. Now, we who? Christians, those that are Israelites, they're not playing with this, and they're not supposed to. They're not supposed to. But should they boss the pastor around, the Gentile pastor? Should they boss him and tell him, don't bring that tree into church? Should they boss him and make him feel bad because he want to take his kids and have a little trick-or-treating? Should they? Who's bossing who? Y'all are definitely an influence out here, and it's causing the church a problem. And this is why I say we don't have no choice but to talk. And if we talk it out and we learn that certain things are not right and exact, some people say, well, if your spirit is trained and you have a conscience, your conscience may be like, listen, don't ride no tree. Because of the urban work that I'm doing, because of the people I invite over, because how my channel is always on, a lot of people seeing me in the house or whatever, don't have no tree. Even if nothing's wrong with it, don't have it. And my conscience can tell me one thing and someone else's conscience can tell them another. If you're Israel and you're claiming you're Israel, there's certain things y'all can't do it all. Period, when it comes to pagan practices, and many other nations will follow in certain things that were considered pagan, period. That's okay. Culture doesn't mean it's pagan or it's against Jesus. You hear that? So you hear that souls of our ancestors? Culture doesn't mean it's pagan or it's against Jesus. Now the question is, what was pagan back in the days when things were being written? And because the term have changed a little bit. Pagan, some people would say, is anything outside of the Abrahamic beliefs. Was it practiced spiritually by other people? Stonehenge pagan. Are the Druids, what the Druids practiced, was that pagan? What voodoo, is that pagan? Is that another spiritual system? And are there tools from that system? We use water. We use water in baptism. In different religions, they use water too. Devil worshippers use water. They use fire. Some of y'all got candles. Y'all light. That's a whole nother question. Somebody gets shot in the corner. Why y'all always going to light the candle? We got to get into the history of the flaming fire, the eternal soul. We got to look at some of these things. Let me click on this before let me see if Deacon hit me. All right, I got to go on me. Let me hopefully, what you go. All right, we have the ability to choose, but trust and believe you better choose wisely because your eternity depends on those choices. Amen. And we're going to close with that. I think that, like I said, regular deception, money, credit, home, regular deception, that's one thing. But there are certain things that we're dealing with. We're dealing with spiritual matters. Nobody want to do something that God hates. If you have his spirit, bearing witness in your spirit, in your heart, you're not going to do things that's against the spirit of God, that's against your conscience, that's against the spirit of God working on the inside of you. Or could the problem be some people are putting legality or legalistic and they're trying to put some stuff on me, and I really do have that freedom and a pure conscience. I don't mean anything bad by just enjoying myself. Everything that's European is not pagan. Everything that's European is not devil worship. But at the same time, everything that's Africa is not pagan either. Because these people made everything. And this is where the problem comes in. Everything coming out of that dark continent of Africa, their people, their spirituality, all of it is the devil. And everything coming out of bright white Europe is pure, holy, good, and true. And we've been fighting these things. And this is why we got to make sure we're standing on the word. Now, the problem is, if we don't see it in the Bible, can we practice it in a good conscience if we don't see it in the Bible? Can we practice it out of a good conscience? That's important. All right, y'all. I'm gonna call this. Ooh, great to see. Great to be. Hit me anytime you want to jump on and talk about that other stuff. Past. I'm gonna let y'all know tonight. This weekend, I'm going in. I'm specifically for my Patreon people. I'm going in. I told y'all I had that other stuff. I got to get rid of it. So I want to do it tonight or tomorrow, so I could take it to the post office and next day it. I'm a next day it to y'all. I got some people been holding me down, always giving me good words of encouragement, support, and just been with me through all of my craziness. So I want to bless y'all. I got that pad. I told y'all I got that pad from months ago. I might have opened it up and used it one time. I bought a $49 case for it. I'm going to throw it in the mail and I'm going to send it to somebody. I don't know if I'm getting rid of them pods. I got them pods over there too, and some other stuff over in my other place. And I want to go to the post office and I want to send it out to some of my people. 267-500-3489. That's my cell number. Let me put it up right here. And y'all hit me at BereanTeach at gmail.com, $Berean Teach on the Cash App. Let me see if I can put that. What's my number? What did I just say my number was? 267. I got that. This is the Philly number when I went down there mess around with Mason them. That's it. 267-500 3489. That's my number right there. We're gonna get it in later on. We're gonna talk about those pews. Like I said, we don't want to disrespect anybody, but there's some things are up in the air. Israelites, urban apologists, these pastors, anybody, they got to come with receipts. We need some receipts, and people need to know. It's not to disrespect anybody. We need to get into it. We got to get into that limber culture. DNA ain't going nowhere. We're gonna discuss it. Are people taking what these other people said with their DNA and straight lying because they're wicked? Because religious people have been wicked, and we have done wicked things. Religious people, quote unquote Christians, have a history of doing some wicked stuff. Oh, there wasn't real Christians, those was Catholics. Guess what? I'm gonna show y'all some Protestant history. Protestants been foul too. So we got to be careful. Not saying that every Israelite is holy, but we just got to put it all on the table. All right, we appreciate y'all. Love y'all in super chat and everything. Let me see, were there any more comments? Thank you, Sally Smiles. We appreciate you. I'm gonna jump off right now, call us hoop, and I'm gonna get to the church. They waiting for me. I got to get there for the bishop and them start coming, thinking I ain't been doing no work. All right, God bless y'all.